Thank you so much for joining us on Straight Outta Savannah with my guest, Kim Carpenter. I'm super excited that she has chosen to join me today. We're going to have so much fun. We're going to have an amazing conversation. Kim is going to tell you who she is and what she's all about. Kim, take it away.
Hey, Tammy. Yeah, so happy to be here. Thank you for this opportunity to talk with you. And I've, in 2020, in January of 2020, I started my own coaching business. So I kind of specialize in emotional energy through mindset coaching and also emotional intelligence, working through self-awareness and getting people to a place of, just true, authentic self-love and inspiring others to kind of unhide their light and to shine their true inner power more brightly.
Wow. And how do you do this?
So I do it through different coaching sessions, and I feel that I'm fairly intuitive. I'm a third generation intuitive, and I can really tap into a person's energy and what they're feeling and where some emotional inner issues may be stuck or keeping them, in a place where they want to move from. And we just either work through an intuitive reading, or it may turn into coaching sessions where we deal with specific topics to help them get through something that may relate personally to them, or it may relate professionally to them.
Awesome. So did you have to switch your practice? Did you have to switch with the pandemic, or were you always just virtual?
Always virtual. So
Okay.
It worked out well.
Awesome. So that's So then that means that you didn't have to make a transition like a lot of people did that had brick and mortars and that, saw people in person and stuff like that. That's awesome. So what made you decide that this was an area that you wanted to work with people in?
Well, it's kind of twofold. And the answer is I worked in human resources for over 15 years. And I always enjoyed the aspect of the employee side of it, whereas I was counseling them or mentoring them or helping them through situations, or I always kind of felt like the mediator between the employee and their boss, was trying to resolve problems and paperwork, all the benefits and all the payroll and all that stuff, it got done. But where I really loved helping others was through that counseling and working with people individually and one-on-one. And also what made me kind of jump into doing my own business is I survived a narcissistic relationship. I left that in 2011, I think it was. And that kind of clicked for me. That's where I felt like I launched into this spiritual journey. And I started looking into the aspects of what exactly is that? What is self-discovery? What is, is all these things coming to me? And I just started incorporating them into my job and then transitioned over into coaching.
Oh, wow. That's so powerful. That is so powerful. So, so do you help people as well with the narcissistic part? Because that is like huge, because there's so many people that survive those relationships. Mm-hmm. I'm one as well. And my husband actually is one as well. Mm-hmm. But we survive those narcissistic relationships. And do you find that when you're coaching people, if they've been involved in that type of relationship, does it come up for you even when you're coaching them in a different area? Because that's something
it does. It does. And it is, unfortunately, it is prevalent. And you see it so much on social media. And just, when you speak out about your story, other people chime in, oh, I went through it. My parents were this way. Oh, my partner was this way. And you just hear it so much. Yes. And so I think there's a lot of healing in that area that's occurring at this time. And so I see it and it pops up. It can affect, it affects everything. It affects your self-worth, self-confidence, self-esteem. I mean, everything about you when you go through that type of situation, because it takes you down to so many levels. I know when I left my relationship, I was at rock bottom at that time. And the only way I saw going was up. And so I just read as much self-help as I could and got, worked myself through all this deep, soulful healing. And it ties back to, our childhood relationships and experiences and maybe traumas and maybe abuses in our formative years. So it can be tied back. to several
Yes.
things, and it impacts your life in many ways.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes. Do you find when you are working with some of the ladies that you work with, because I guess I'm assuming you work with ladies.
Yes.
Okay. When you're working with some of the ladies that you're working with, do you find that a lot of them have had difficulties navigating through some of these areas in order to get to, to get over or to get into, say, like another place?
Yes, most definitely. There's patterns, or what I refer to as patterns, in
Mhm.
your relationships. One of the things I like to do is involve self-awareness, where you're kind of observing yourself at a higher level, not judging. You're full of compassion and giving yourself that love, but you're observing experiences that you've gone through, and you're looking for things that keep reoccurring, and those are where your healing occurs, or where your lessons are. What do you need to learn from that experience, or why does it keep happening? And that was one of the things for me that I personally went through, is I kept seeing patterns in all of my partners, and I questioned myself, well, why do I keep making these choices? And
Yes.
for that, you do look back at yourself, and there's a lot of growth that you do, your inner growth that you do to overcome that.
Yes, yes, that's that is so key. It's like as you begin to get out of that, because I feel like there's like it's almost like you're in a cocoon
Yes.
when you're in those situations and involved in those relationships. It's like you're here, you're in this thing,
Mhm.
and you don't feel like you can get out, and you don't feel like there's anybody that will understand you.
Mhm.
So how do you speak to those people? Because I know that they're out there and they're watching, because most of the time they are. When we were involved in those situations, we were watching other people as well to see, how we could get out once we realized. Because that's another thing I noticed about these type of situations is you don't always know that you're in a situation.
Mhm.
It's like you it's like you think it's normal because it was normal for you. And I like the fact that when we were talking in the green room and you were speaking about how, people are involved in those situations and you're doing the volunteer work that you're doing. Because that is like, to me, that would be the ultimate, just because we know that people are hurting, and we know that people don't even, a lot of times they don't even understand that they're in this crazy situation, because to them it's their life and it's normal for them. So how do you speak to them to help them even to acknowledge or know that that's not normal? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I understand what you're saying. It's that, when you have abuse in your formative years, um, chaos is comfort. It's comforting for you. It's, being controlled and having that all around you. Or if you're in control, trying to control situations, that's providing you comfort. It becomes a way of kind of coping with your day-to-day life and activities that you're doing. So to get yourself to a point of breaking that, it takes a lot of that inner work to do that. That courage within, and the want or the drive to do that. Um, I know, when you were just mentioning about the relationships, that you don't necessarily understand that what you're in is the abuse or that situation
Right.
that you're going through, and it becomes difficult. I know in my relationship, we'd watch different reality TV shows or different things, and I would see other couples that seemed, like they had it all together, that they meshed really well, and that, when arguments came up, they handled it, they communicated well with one another, and everything was healthy. And when I would say these things or make that observation to my partner, he would tell me, I read too many fantasy books, or I read too many romance novels, or, stop watching Lifetime TV, or there was
Real
always
life
all
isn't
this.
like that.
Right, exactly.
Mhm.
Because I mean, because you're starting to come out and aware that things are different, and they're like, no, we got to control you still. Let's, tell you that this doesn't exist. One of his big things too was that I was always hopeful. I was hoping this or hoping that. And he's like, well, hope doesn't exist. I'm like, Yeah, yeah, it does. It gives you that
Wow.
light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
So yeah, so it's very difficult when you are in that situation to observe things outside of it. Um,
Because it gives you
but
something to believe in, hope.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. But they don't want you to have that anyway.
No, they don't. They lose control when you do. Yeah.
Yes. That is wow. That is, it's amazing when you hear the stories and you listen to, and I know that you hear them all the time,
Mm.
because of what you do. You do. Oh, that's a big cat.
She's got to be in the video too.
Right? Got the photo bomb.
That's great.
Right. So when you are in the midst of dealing with somebody that has just come out of the narcissistic relationship, what's the first thing that you say to them or that you counsel them about?
First and foremost is just making sure they're okay, because a lot of times those situations, you don't know the level. For me, there was no physical abuse, but it was mostly emotional and mental. Um, but others experience that physical side of it. There's that stalking side of it, or always being monitored or watched. So it's to make sure that the person is doing okay, that they feel safe, or if they've gotten out of the situation, they're kind of in that time frame too of the narcissist still reaches out and still tries to get you back. Mine did a few times, and I was like,
Yes.
absolutely no freaking way.
Yes.
So just to make sure that they're safe, first off, and that what their plan of action is, or if they have a safety plan in place, or are they across country, or did they move from a different state, or just what the situation is exactly, and then we kind of move forward from there.
Got you. That's powerful. And it's so necessary. This work is so necessary that you do. And I, for one, applaud you for it. Because a lot of people are able to get out of these situations, but they can't help other people. And I think that it's not that they don't want to, but they just can't, because it's too close for them. And I really, so I applaud you for being able to, reach back and help some other sisters and brothers and others. because everybody is involved in this type of situation. It's not just women, it's not just men, because at one time I thought basically it was just women and maybe trans women. I knew that they, had situations, but I didn't realize it's everybody, anybody, men, women, trans, however you identify, it's everybody that deals with these type of situations. And so to have you out there doing this work is just phenomenal. It's huge. And I am so grateful. I'm so grateful. All right.
Thank
So
you.
let's
I'm
talk.
inspired to hear, your stories as well. When your posts and everything are so inspiring for others. So I think it's just that power in sharing your story. That was one
Yes.
of the kind of aha moments. I have several of them, coming out of the situation, but that was one of them. Is I actually reached out to my ex-partner's ex-wife, because I was hearing all these terrible stories about her, how horrible she was, and how she did this and did that. And I reached out to her as I was leaving, and she got back to me, and of course, shared the truth of what happened. And it was very similar to what I was dealing with him. And sadly, she was still, I mean, this had been, I'd with him, 8 or 9 years. She was still in the same place mentally that she was when she left him. And she was now drinking, she was coping with different mechanisms and
Substances.
things. And it was sad. It just broke my heart. And I think that was my turning point right there, was to be like, okay, my mission is to help others, come through what their circumstances are, and to just help people thrive.
Yes. That is so powerful. Oh, wow. That is really awesome. Especially how you reach back to your ex's ex, right?
Yes.
That's pretty interesting. But that's neat though, because the thing is that if you dealt with it, then she dealt with it, You know what I mean? Because those people don't typically change. So let's talk about the patterns, because we said something earlier about patterns and how, and this is something I actually did a live with a girl recently, a couple months ago, and we were talking about how people, when they don't get the patterns right, they keep choosing the same partner. They keep choosing the same man, same woman, the same whoever. They keep choosing the same one. It's not like actually the same one, but the same energy. So speak to that. How do you flip that script so that you can move forward and not keep choosing these nincompoops?
Yeah, exactly. It's, it's all in the energy. And I believe it's, as I learn more about the law of attraction and, what we put out, we get back kind of scenarios, is that it does come from you. I remember in therapy, I went briefly for a while after coming out of that situation and was told that, narcissists or pathological people or psychopaths or whatever name you want to reference, is they actually pick you. So they may have a pool of people they want to date, and they go after the weak one in a sense. And so, and I knew I wasn't very strong in relationships. And so I allowed it to take place, because I thought that was what was normal and what I had known to be, in relationships and how partners related to each other.
Yes.
And so, you have to kind of really take it back to those basics of recognizing things within yourself. Because it's not always, well, it's their fault. You can't always blame somebody. You've got to take some accountability as well, and strengthen yourself. So there's a lot in that, and it starts with self-love.
Yes, that is the key. Self-love is huge.
Mhm.
Right now it's like the buzzword, but I truly believe that you can't have anything else without self-love and self-forgiveness. And I actually did a meditation the other night about forgiveness. And I didn't think I needed it, because I'm the type of person that I forgive easily. I don't hold grudges. I just don't do it. It's just not healthy for me. Probably not healthy for the other person either. But I learned that years ago. I don't believe in it. And so I don't do it, but it's like, okay, where are we at here with this? Are we able to let it go? Because I hear people, I can forgive, but I can't forget. And the thing is, I don't believe that you should. I believe you should forgive, but you should always remember. You should always remember. You should forgive, but you should always remember. So that's an area also that I know that a lot of people that dealt with narcissistic relationships deal with, because it's hard to forgive somebody that was abusive. So speak to that. How do you help people to navigate that area? Or is there
Yeah.
something that you tell them that, helps them to be able to forgive?
As you were saying, about that forgive and forget, it's, forgetting gets easier over time, whereas you don't forget, but it just gets easier as you grow.
Yes.
I always call it like phases or stages that you kind of go through, because
Yes.
you yourself will then, when you come out of relationships like that, you go through cycles of anger and sadness, and
Yes.
you're just experiencing all these things as well. And so that process of forgiving allows you to work through that a little bit better. And the one important thing I think I learned coming out of that situation was, maybe you're not, necessarily forgiving them, but you're forgiving yourself
Yes.
for stepping into that experience.
Yes.
And you're at the same time finding blessings within that lesson of, what did you learn? Well, remember, what were some good things that you can take away from that situation?
Yes.
So you're not always focused on the negative and the bad stuff.
Yes.
And, because sometimes we get stuck in that area, and that's where our anger and
Yes.
all of our emotions come from and get tied to.
Yes.
And it's, if you can make a break from that and step away and just forgive yourself for, going through that. And
Yes.
you look back at it like, okay, I did that now, how can I change my story going forward? And you
Yes.
just empower yourself to learn from that and get over it.
Yes. Yes. That is powerful, because I know for me, I love to say, what is mine to share? This is something that I started asking myself, what is mine to share? So typically a lot of times when I do, especially like a Facebook Live, if I'm talking about, these subjects, I say, well, what's mine to share? And then I share some stuff that might help some people, because I feel like all the things that I went through wasn't just for me. It was so I can help other people, so I can tell them it's not that bad. It's okay, and you'll be fine. You know what I'm saying? And actually mean it and know that it's true. Because we all have people that will share stuff with us and tell us, but they don't really mean it. They don't really mean it. But for me, I feel like if I can share with you and I can say, this is something that I went through. Now, it might not be the same as what you went through, but it could be similar. It's the same type of thing, but, and if I was able to get through it, then you can, you can. Now, will you get through it? I don't know, but you can,
Yeah.
And that's like, okay. So what type of clients are you looking for?
Mostly those that are willing and ready to make some changes within. Because it's, if you're not ready for that, I know I went years and years and years in my life with, I had people that came and went and teach you lessons and, show you things. And it's like, I don't need that. You stay where you're at. And once you hit that shift of, okay, yeah, I need to make some changes here because all of these things keep happening. That kind of mindset, when you're ready to do the work, you're ready to commit to yourself 100% and give it all, and know that, you're dealing with shadow and light. It's not all happy, fun times. It's some serious healing that you're going to put yourself through. And if you're ready and willing to do that, those are the kind of clients I'm looking for.
Yes. Oh, that is so powerful. I'm so excited about that. I'm so excited. Alrighty. So let the people know where they can connect with you. And then do you have like any program that's coming up lately? I mean, soon that you need to fill?
I have a couple things in the works. My business name is Bimberlin Soulworks, and I can be found on Facebook and Instagram. And I share a lot of freebie posts on there, and we're about to start tomorrow, 12 days of healing. So we'll go through some transformational growth. Now, of course, it takes longer than 12 days to heal, but these are just steps to try to get you moving in that direction, and that you can work on in the coming year in 2022 if you're willing to make those changes. So those are free on my social media pages. And then I've also got a Heart Light masterclass that's coming up in January that we're going to step into healing and getting to know ourselves through self-love and stepping back into being heart-centered. A lot of times when we're in these situations or bad relationships or experiences, we close ourselves off and we forget to open it back up when we experience new things, and therefore we keep experiencing the same things. So
You get caught in a loop cycle.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So this is to get you back into that heart light and compassion, that unconditional love, because so many of us are taught conditions.
Yes.
And to get back into that unconditional love.
Yes. That is exactly something that my husband talks about, because he said, we actually were talking to a young couple and my husband said, unconditional love is something that they teach us and they tell us to do, but not very many people do. Mm-hmm. He said, because there's not any reason, anything that my wife could do to make me leave her. I don't care what she does. And my husband said that to this young couple, and the young couple was like, well, if she cheats, the guy was like, if she cheats on me, then I'll leave her and this and that. And my husband said, no, no, no. He said, I love my wife so much. It doesn't matter what she does. If she cheats on me, he said, I forgive her. He said, it probably was my fault. But yeah, so I think that is like something that people, it's like a concept, but people don't actually want to do it. You know, it's like healing. You know,
Yes.
people want to be healed, and it's an amazing concept. But a lot of times people don't actually want to, just like you said, take the steps to do the work in order to get the healing, you know, because it's not, you know, it's just not elfin magic.
True. Yeah, true. And that's ultimately what we all want. If we're, seeking a partnership, you want that in a partner. If things happen, life's going to happen, it's how you handle it and how you work through it and how
Yes.
you're there to support each other. Good times and
Yes.
bad times, it's those ups and downs that you just flow through together.
Exactly. And it's amazing because, you know, I never even, I thought I would get married again because I got divorced young and did everything young. But I knew I would get married again. And then once I started researching and looking to see that the studies say that people that got married young typically will get married again, you know, because in our minds, it's like, that's what we know. You know, I got married at 19. So my whole almost adult life, I've been somebody's wife, you know, and so, yeah. So you kind of, in your mind, it's just what you go for and what you do. And this is why you see people that get married and then they get married to the same joker.
Mhm.
And then they get divorced again. And then they get married to the same joker.
Mhm.
And then they get divorced again. And it's that pattern and that cycle, like we were talking about, you know, that pattern is like, you know, because you're like, oh, wow, you know, he's amazing and this and that. And then you find out he was just like the other one. He's
Yeah.
abusive, you know?
Yeah, an illusion.
Right. It's an illusion. Right. I was just playing that song. But yeah, so I'm super excited. This has been my pleasure. I have been wanting to interview you for a minute. I think we talked back and forth a few times.
We
So
have.
I'm so glad that you finally have made it. This has been so great. Just speaking on the narcissistic relationship piece, that was like, that is right. So any last words to say to our audience?
Yeah, just to know that you're worthy of living the life and living your higher self, as we like to refer it to sometimes, in that stepping back into self-love, because we all know you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yes.
And, to always give that back to yourself. So many times we're taught that that's selfish, and it's not. You start with yourself first and then work out from there.
Absolutely. And that is so powerful. And you know, the funny thing about that is they say that that's selfish, you know, to take care of yourself and all that stuff. That's what people said. However, they want you to put your mask on first. So is that not selfish?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like, okay, so it's selfish
Contradicting.
because, right, because you say it's selfish because women are talking about it probably.
Mhm.
No, but then you say, you know, put your mask on first. So is that not selfish? It's like,
Mhm.
okay. So we just decide what's selfish and what's not.
True. Yep.
All right. So again, thank you so much for hanging out with us today on Straight Outta Savannah. My guest, Kim, has rocked it. If you are ready and you have been dealing with these things that we've talked about, join her, grab her. She is so easy to talk to. I think it's just been amazing. And she's one of these people that, you know, if she says she can help you, she can help you. So again, thank y'all for joining us on Straight Outta Savannah. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.